Am I audible, guys? Am I audible, guys? Am I loud and clear, guys? Yeah, sorry for the delay, guys. I got stuck in the traffic. Okay. Yeah, last session happened on Friday. Last session happened on Friday, na Thursday, Saturday, na Friday. Yeah, it was on introduction to distributed application. There we studied about what is distributed application to application interaction. In that process, we discussed along with the regular layers, presentation layer, service layer, okay, persistence layer, data layer, one extra layer is required in both provider and consumer application. What is that? Integration layer. And integration layer of consumer means client, is called skeleton. Skeleton is stub. Okay, integration layer of producer is called what? Skeleton. And to develop these logics, these stub and skeleton logic in both consumer and what? Producer application, we need separate libraries. And those libraries are nothing but distributed technologies or frameworks. In Java domain, what are the things we got? RMI, EZB, Corba, web services. Who is best? Web services is best. Why web service is best? Because of two reasons. Reason number one, we can invoke the business logics of the web services through protocol HTTP like any other web application by generating request and by getting response. Number one. Number two, web services are interoperable. What, guys? Interoperable. Online students, please respond. Web services are interoperable. That means they can be developed anywhere, they can be consumed anywhere. Provider application can be there in Java, consumer application in .NET. Reverse also okay. So they are interoperable. So that means they are language, hardware, platform, architecture independent. They can be developed in any language. They can be consumed in any language. They can be developed anywhere, can be consumed anywhere. I hope you got it, guys. Yeah. Yeah. How many types of web services are there? Two types. SOAP-based, RESTful. SOAP-based is outdated or doing well? Outdated. Why it is outdated? Because of the complexity of sending inputs, sending output. How the inputs and outputs will go along with the request body and response body. In which format? XML format. Simple XML or SOAP protocol based XML. That means scope related schemas comes into picture or not. So what is the problem with XML? Basic XML also, data is less, decoration is more. When it is linked with the schemas, protocols, etc., more and more decoration compared to data. Like our what? Heroines. Our heroes fine. They don't do much makeup. Compared to their acting, preparation time is more. Decoration time is more. I think there's a famous meme, only HTML, Deepika Padukone without makeup. HTML plus CSS, Deepika Padukone with makeup. I think that's a famous meme. I know how many of you are aware of it, right? Compare in XML also, what's the problem? Compare to data, schema imports, open tag, closing tag, this is extra, right? So that means compared to data, decoration is more. And that too, if SOAP protocol, scope schema based XML means what? More and more decoration compared to what? Data. So that's why handling SOAP messages, which are coming as request body and response body, is very complex or not, guys? That's why as alternate, what we got? A RESTful web service. REST is a protocol like SOAP? No. It's a mechanism of what? Transferring data between application either in simple XML or simple JSON. But since JSON is there, anyone uses XML in RESTful web service? No one prefers using XML, but XML option is also there because RESTful web service came at such a time. JSON was relatively new and XML is completely not outdated. That's why they have given support for what? XML and JSON. But most of us will prefer working with only JSON. Okay, guys, tell me. In Java environment, JAX-WS is API technology that is given to develop what? SOAP-based web services. And the frameworks implementing what? SOAP-based web services are Apache Axis, Apache CFX, and etc. Apache Axis, Apache CFX, and etc. Is that clear, guys? Understanding my statement, boss? I want reply from you people. Okay. These are based on SOA, service oriented architecture, guys, where separate registry is required to publish and find the web services. Recollect, other day I have given SOAP based web services arc diagram. Sina, not Sina. Provider, service registry, consumer. Exactly, if you look at the diagram, boss, faculty is, look at the diagram, SOAP based web services, provider, registry, consumer. Okay. Provider develops the web service having business operation. He will register that service in UDDI having WSDL document. Consumer contacts the registry and it downloads the WSDL document and he develops what? Stub logic. That means consumer logic to communicate with the provider. Okay, once those logics execution is started, consumer will send the inputs along with the request. Okay, provider methods will execute. Generated output will come back to consumer in the form of response. In the form of response. Is that clear, guys? Are you getting my point there, guys? I want reply. These are based on SOA. If you look at this, you can easily remember and understand this concept, guys. Yeah. Provider is like Natras sir or any Java faculty who keeps himself ready with subject and examples and teaching plan, right? Uh, is teaching plan course related information is kept in what? Naresh IT in the form of course brochure, course content or course brochure, right? Super. You all people are consumers. One provider can have multiple consumers, right? What you will do first? You will directly communicate with me? No, because I am not available in a public domain, right? So, but my course details are available with what? Naresh IT. So you all communicate with what? Naresh IT. Gets what? Course content and course details. Okay, after that, you will by paying amount or by keeping your slot free, whatever it is, you are ready for communication with the faculty. So every day you communicate with me, I deliver my subject. Again, you communicate with me, I deliver my subject. Is it difficult to remember now? Faculty Natras sir, student X, registry Naresh IT front office. Registry is what? Naresh IT front office. Easy, boss. Yeah, that is SOA architecture. The service registry in SOA are Very heavy to maintain, guys. Very heavy to maintain. The SOAP messages in HTTP request, HTTP response are what? Complex to build and heavy to send over the network. Complex to build and heavy to send over the network. Right, guys? Understanding about web service by reading WSDL document an easy process. Are WSDL full of XML ra babu. How one provider application is having business method, we should understand by reading WSDL. And WSDL in what? XML. That means no Java information, no .NET information. Only generic information will be there. And WSDL specification related generic information will be there. By reading that generic information, .NET client should write consumer in .client. Java client should write consumer in what? Java. It's very complex now, boss. Okay. You want to see sample WSDL document? You'll feel better not to learn SOAP-based web services. Sample WSDL document, guys. Sample WSDL document. Yeah, this is the document, guys. Import schema import only 5-6 lines, right? Here checked out. What you will understand, Ra? What you will understand? Tell me. It is telling this. Very complex or not? Yeah. Understanding about web service. SOAP messages use complex schema. So building SOAP message is what? Very costly. Building SOAP message is what? Very costly, guys. Does not give flexibility to send data in different global format. Should always use the heavy SOAP message as XML message. Allow only XML as a global data format to exchange the data between the application. It allows only XML, guys. XML is becoming outdated day to day as the global data format. The communication between consumer and provider application is unidirectional. That means one way communication is possible. The other way is not possible. Consumer can invoke services of producer application. Or a producer wants to use the services of consumer possible? Is it possible? Not possible. Stub logics are different, skeleton logics are different. It's a purely one-way unidirectional consumer means always consumer. It may be producer to someone, but that consumer is always consumer to that provider. Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on. To overcome this problem, use RESTful web services. I hope you understood what is need of coming for RESTful web services, guys. Okay. Yeah, these are about get and post methods, guys. Get is idempotent, safe to repeat the request. Post is not idempotent, not safe to repeat the request. Why? I will tell. Post means form submission. Form submission means either it will insert the record or update the record. Get means getting the data. Getting means select operation. If you repeat the select operation, is there any side effect, guys? Report data is there. I said I had clicked on hyperlink get mode request, report has come. I pressed refresh button on the report page. What happened? Updated report will come. Is there any side effect? Okay, fine. Next one. I have a form where I kept credit card details for money deduction. Submit button. Post mode request. Form means post mode request. Circle, circle, circle. Payment is credited. We got a page, success page. I pressed refresh button thrice. What happened? What's the previous request? Payment deduction. So money will be deducted multiple times or not? Form duplication problem. I think I discussed that. Then why I'm wasting my time then? Okay. But so far we discussed about what? Get and post only, right? Get the head option trace put delete. More requests are idempotent. Alright, total 7-8 modes are there, guys, right? Get is idempotent, head is idempotent. Array, head request related response does not have body. When no body is there, what it will update, guys? Options. Options will tell I can give request to this URL using which mode of request. I can give request to this servlet component using get mode or post mode. If you repeat that one more time, modes list will come, right? Trace. Trace means what are the things involved in the execution of the web component will come. If you repeat this, what happened? One more time, same details will come. Put. Put is for update operation, guys. Array, I changed salary to 10%, right? Sorry, I changed salary to some number, X to Y. I repeat the request. What happened? Again change it to X to Y only, na? Again change it to X to Y only, na? Come on, guys. Delete. In first request, I deleted. I have refreshed. Is there any item available to delete again? Not there. So that means it is also safe to repeat. It is also safe to repeat. What do you say, guys? Post and patch mode requests are not idempotent. Okay. Put looks like idempotent in most of the scenarios because if we try to update that, if we try to update the item, if we try to update the item, if you try to update the item that is already been updated, then no updation takes place. If you try to update the item that is already been updated, see, I changed salary already X to Y. I'm repeating. Repeating means what happened? Already X to Y is, again Y only will come, na? Again Y only will come, right, guys? Yeah, RESTful web services, guys. Okay, I don't know how much you focused so far, but now onwards you have to focus. Because by learning RESTful web service, we are going to move to microservices. If you don't understand RESTful web service, understanding microservices is also be difficult. I hope your life should not become difficult, right? Okay. REST is not a protocol. REST is the mechanism or architecture representing the state of web application in the HTTP request and HTTP response. In request body, response body, data is there, na? Either XML data or JSON data. That is technically called state. Representational state. Representational state. RE means representational, ST means state. REST represent. REST means representational state transfer. Representational state transfer. Allows to send data in both global format, XML and JSON. Directly as HTTP request body and response body. No protocol involved while constructing this data. No schema, no XML schema, nothing is involved. Yeah, some discussions about XML, guys. Extensible markup language. To convert XML tag data to Java object and reverse, we use JAXB API. Okay. What is that? JSON. JavaScript object notation. Nothing but object in JavaScript. The process of converting Java object to JSON content, key value pairs, is called serialization. And reverse is called what? Deserialization. And reverse is called deserialization. Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on. Let's have a look. Java data representation. String name is equal to Raja. How to declare a variable in JavaScript? Where let name is equal to Raja. Int age is equal to 30. Where let age is equal to 30. Here is my customer object now, boss. Come on. Yeah. Where let cust is equal to CNO 1001, CNAME Raja, bill amount 90.77. JSON doc means object in JavaScript, guys. JSON doc means object in JavaScript. Everyone understanding my statement, guys? Customers 1001, Raja, bill amount 90.7. How it is, guys? Open floor bracket, closing floor bracket. That indicates one JSON document. Inside that, one more is there, na sub document. Okay, na? CNO. See, all keys, double quotes, strings. Colon is the separator. Values, non-string values, no double quotes. String values must be there in some. And everything should be separated with comma. Every element should be separated with comma. Every key value pair should be separated with comma. JSON doc means object in what? JavaScript. To convert JSON content into Java object, and for reverse operation we use what? JSON APIs. To convert JSON content into Java object and to reverse the operation, we use JSON API. What are the APIs we got, guys? Jackson API, and by default, all Spring Boot applications will come with what? Jackson API. You open any, whenever you add web starter, Jackson API jars will come automatically. JSON, JSON, and etc. Check it out. Here is my Java object customer. This is the application where I am using Jackson, JSON, a number of APIs, converting object to JSON document, serialization. JSON document to object, deserialization. Object to JSON document, serialization. JSON document to object, deserialization. Everyone getting my point there or not there? But listen carefully. Be careful here. Core Java IO stream serialization is different from JSON serialization and deserialization. Unfortunately, terminologies are matching. Come on, guys. Sometimes it happens, na? IT industry terminology, non-IT industry terminology matches. We think both are same, but actually not. In our IT industry, platform means what? Operating system, right? For a dancer, platform means what? The dancing floor, right? Or the reality show where he can show his talent, right? For railway passenger, platform means what? Platform number one, platform number two, where trains will be stopped and go. So sometimes terminologies matches, right? But does it mean they are same? No. Context to context meaning will change. You look at the word client. For lawyer, client means what? The person who give the cases. In software industry, client means what? Who send request to receive response. For a business person, client means what? Who gives the work to do, right? For a business person, or for HCL company, client is what? Central government, because they do central government projects. For CTS company, client organization is whom? Amex, American Express Bank, right, boss? Some terminologies, context to context meaning will change. Meaning, you cannot give standard meaning for every time, right? As a software engineer, when someone asks you, what are the languages you know? You will say C, C++, Java, right? But as a normal person, if someone asks you, what are the languages you know? Then you will say, Telugu, Hindi, Tamil, Bhojpuri, this kind of languages, right, guys? Yeah. Why all these things? Someone is identified. Spring has got different meaning, right? In Java domain, Spring means is a framework. But outside domain, Spring means a season name, right, boss? Hibernation is a different meaning. You know, hibernation? Hibernation is nothing but holding the state for long time. Remembering the state for long time is called hibernation. You know, there is a sleep mode in your laptop. Yeah, that is hibernate mode only, Rao. Because no one is understanding the word hibernation. That's why they changed hibernation to sleep mode. Sleep mode is nothing but hibernation. Remember, observe very carefully. When I shut down the computer in sleep mode, when I open it back, everything, the state will be preserved or not. The state is preserved or not. If notepad is open, it shows notepad open only. If Tomcat server is in running mode, it shows what? Tomcat server running only. But OS will damage very fastly if you keep hibernation mode. Don't do that. Let it be 5 minutes taking time, but you spend time for rebooting only. OS will corrupt, okay, much load on the processor if you keep your computer more and more time in what? Hibernation mode or what? Sleep. In IO stream, the process of converting Java object data to bits and bytes is called serialization, and reverse is called deserialization. For this serialization, we need serializable Java object, the object whose class implements what? Serializable interface. For the serialization of JSON environment, we don't need any serializable object. JSON serialization, nothing but converting Java object data into JSON document. Any normal Java object is sufficient. Any normal Java object is sufficient. Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on. For IO stream serialization, we need serializable object. For JSON serialization, we can take any normal Java object. We can take any normal Java object. Comfortable, guys? JSON is lightweight compared to XML to represent the data. How can you say? See, XML, I want to maintain one customer information. Customer, CNO 101 open closing, CNAME, Raja open closing, bill amount 90.77 open closing, close customers. Everyone getting my point there, guys? I want reply, boss. In JSON, observe, guys. Open parenthesis, closing parenthesis, key value, which is easy, boss. Readability wise, preparation wise, which is easy. Yeah. Here compared to data, the structure is more like closing tag for every opening tag is bit extra. Here data and structure are equally in good combination. Okay. Gives structured data having relationship among the data members in bit heavy environment. Gives structured data having relation among the data members in light environment. Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on. SOAP-based web service architecture is SOA. It is like student getting training from trainer by accessing trainer details from the institute. RESTful web service architecture is what? Consumer producer architecture application, and it is like student and trainer direct interaction. It is like no institute in the middle. It's like what? Student and trainer direct interaction. Here, no one will be there in the no registry kind of facility will be there. Consumer will talk to producer directly, producer will respond to consumer direct. RESTful web service is not based on SOA, service oriented architecture. It is based on consumer producer architecture with front controller support. That means no service registry is required. Consumer stub logic, producer skeleton logic. Consumer talks to producer, producer talk to consumer. What is that, guys? Consumer talks to producer, producer talks to consumer. Every RESTful service producer is a web component and it is identified with its what? URL. Every provider application is a web application. Its methods, its operations are identified with what? URL. Consumer will gather those URL, will try to send requests to those what? URL in order to execute the services represented by those URLs. In order to execute the services represented by the URLs. Super, guys. Listen, guys. The provider application in RESTful web service is one MVC controller or advanced controller having business method mapped with what? Request path. So the consumer application invoke the business methods of producer application by sending HTTP based what? HTTP request based request based on request URL and what? Request path of business method. Check it out, guys. Search operation controller is the controller class. On the top of it, what is there? A REST controller is there. There, what is there? Request mapping search API. Request mapping search API. Here is my what? REST controller. Method 1 slash report 1. Method 2 slash report. Method 1 slash report 1. Method 2 slash report 2. Method 1 slash report 1. Method 2 slash report 2. Request mapping slash. See, guys. So now whenever I want to give request to method 1, guys, can I say slash search API slash report 1? By having this URL from consumer, I can give request to method 1. By using slash search API slash report 2, I can give request to method 2. Come on, my dear. So it is like working with the servlet JSP only, na? But a bit advanced compared to servlet JSP. So for example, in MVC classes, we have used only controller, but we are using What's the speciality? If you use the REST controller, response goes directly to consumer without involving, without expecting view resolver and view component. Without involving, without expecting what? View resolver and view component. Is it not interesting, Babu? Come on. In RESTful web services, we prefer JSON data a lot compared to XML data. We prefer JSON data a lot compared to what? XML data. See here, what is there? Here, consumer and producer will talk to each other. HTTP request with XML or JSON data along with the inputs, guys. Along with the request. HTTP response with XML or JSON data. Is it not interesting, Babu? Come on. Yeah, tell me, boss, what is there? In RESTful web services, we prefer JSON data a lot compared to XML data. The service provider can be developed in any language like Java, .NET, PHP, Python, etc. The service consumer can be developed in any language like Java, .NET, PHP, Python, etc. Also can be taken as any application like Java application, Android application, it can be anything. Yeah, tell me. Consumer, client application, provider application. See? Request, guys. HTTP request. Initial line is common. Header is common. Blank is common. In the body, what is there? XML or JSON. Any protocol involved? No. Plain XML, plain JSON. Okay, here methods executed, output generated. How the outputs are going to consumer? HTTP response with XML or JSON. Here also, what is there? Initial line, headers, blank line, XML or JSON data. Blank line, XML or JSON. Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on. Any schema involved? Any complex schema involved, guys? In RESTful web services, provider application is controller class, which is identified with its URL. Provider application is controller class, which is identified with its what? URL. Clear, boss? Super. Business method inside the controller class are what? Identified with their request path. Okay, linked with the service class method. What, guys? Simply, literally linked with what? Service class method. Are you getting my point there, guys? Business method inside that consumer application uses provider application or component URL and business method request path in order to invoke business methods of the provider application. Or a few minutes back, I said this one, boss. I want to give request to method one from consumer application. Consumer application must and should use search API / report one. Come on. Consumer application wants to invoke what? Method 2. Search API / report 2. REST controller is equal to @controller plus @response body. @controller plus @response body. Yeah, what is extra? Response body is extra. What does it mean? Because of this response body, the generated output given by provider application goes to consumer without involving view resolver and view component. That means The business methods of provider application can send output directly to who? Consumer. That's the meaning of what? Response body. Anyhow, I launched it na. Okay. This makes this makes the methods of RESTful service, also called REST API, also called RESTful service, also called REST API, also called provider application. Direct, okay, directly sending the generated output to consumer application, generated output to consumer application as a response without involving come on guys, without involving view resolver and view component. View resolver and yeah, HTTP request with JSON body. Sample one I am giving. Every HTTP request contains head and body. Come on, guys. Head and body separated with blank line. Within the head, two parts, initial line and headers. Yeah, this is initial line. Come on. This is the initial line. Mode of the request, URL, protocol, and version. These are request headers. Blank line. Come on, I want reply. Okay, here what is the response, guys? Body. What is the response? Body is also called payload. It is in JSON format now, boss. JSON document open closing, key value, key value, key value, key value, key value, key value. You get HTTP response with the JSON body, HTTP response with the payload. That is also head and body. Again, head contains two parts, response line and headers. Response line and what? Headers. What do you say, guys? I want reply. Yeah, tell me this one, guys. This is my response line. Header, header, header. Right, boss? Here is my what? Blank line. Body. Opening and closing. Body, what is that, guys? Opening and closing. Inputs are going in the form of JSON. Outputs also coming in the form of JSON. Any schemas involved, guys? Basically, schema don't have schema. Even XML also there, no schemas will be involved. No protocol is involved, right? Within the HTTP, no protocol. Only HTTP protocol involved, but within the HTTP again, so protocol is not involved. That is what I'm trying to say. That is what I'm trying to say. I hope you got the basic knowledge about what, guys? How RESTful web service data will be carried, either XML or this one directly as a body, and no protocol is involved. Now I have to ask a question. I have to ask one question. While developing provider application, I will be taking @REST controller class. Come on, guys. @REST controller makes a Java class as Spring Bean. Do you think Spring Bean or normal Java class is having capability to take HTTP requests from clients? Do you think Java classes or Spring Bean can take HTTP requests directly from the client? No. Either servlet component or JSP component or HTML files can take it. But right now my provider application is what? Java class annotated with @REST controller. REST controller makes that one as what? Spring Bean, but not the web component like servlet JSP. Problem is there, na? But consumer wants to give what? HTTP request. Consumer wants to get what? HTTP response. Do you think ordinary Java class or Spring Bean can take HTTP request? Can generate HTTP response? That's why we need what? That's why we need what? One middleman. What is that middleman? Front controller. What is the best front controller in Spring environment? Dispatcher servlet. In front of provider application REST controller class, I will be keeping one dispatcher servlet or not? Acting as a front controller, right? Sorry, in one project, how many how many REST controller classes will be taken? Generally, it will be taken on one per module basis. Generally, it will be taken on what basis, guys? Generally, it will be taken on what basis, guys? One per module basis. This front controller dispatcher servlet acts as front controller for one REST controller or multiple REST controller of the project. Multiple REST controllers of the project. Because REST controllers are taken on one per module basis. Front controller will be taken on one per project basis, right? So this front controller is front controller for one REST controller or lots of REST controllers. Since normal REST controller or Java class or Spring Bean cannot take HTTP request and cannot generate HTTP request, cannot take HTTP request and what? Cannot generate HTTP request. Are you getting my point there, guys? I want reply. Cannot take HTTP request, cannot generate HTTP request. Tell me. At provider application side, where @REST controller class is there, we add one dispatcher servlet guy with URL pattern slash. So that means it will trap and take all the requests. It will trap and take what? All the requests. At the same time, it will trap and take all the responses. Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on. Same as controller class story, Babu. In MVC, controller class are Java classes. Come Spring Beans. Do you think they can take request directly? No. So they take request through dispatcher servlet. They give output through dispatcher servlet. They take request through dispatch servlet. They generate output through dispatcher servlet. It acts as an entry and exit point for all request and response. Okay. So here also same front controller is required. And that's why I said Spring Boot REST officially not there. It is extension of what? Spring MVC or Spring Web Module. That's the reason we don't use separate starter, guys, to develop the RESTful web services. Same old web starter we use. Web starter we can use in two angle. Angle number one, to develop MVC architecture web application. Angle number two, to develop what? A RESTful web service provider application and client applications in Java. You decided to develop provider application and consumer application both in Java. We can use what? Same web module. But this time we see, you look at this one as what? A REST module. But officially speaking, technically speaking, there is no REST module. There is no REST module. The service provider producer application in RESTful application is Java class, and it cannot take HTTP requests directly. So we put one front controller servlet like what? Dispatcher servlet, action servlet and etc. Dispatcher servlet, action servlet and what? Etc. The special servlet that acts as entry and exit point for all requests and responses is called what? Front controller servlet. I think we know it's a childhood game, right? Yeah, tell me. This is my REST controller class, guys. Come on. Server application, service producer application, skeleton logic, Java class acting as what? REST controller. So ultimately here what is there? At the rate REST controller is there. At the rate REST controller, guys. Are you getting my point there, guys? I want reply. Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on. Yeah, see guys, number one, this is a consumer application. This is producer application. This is Java class generating HTTP request. It can be mobile application, MVC application, Angular application, React JS application, Spring MVC application, anything. But it can be browser if it is a tool. It can be Postman tool. We have a lot of tools also there acting as a simulator for consumer application. Okay, it generate what request? HTTP request. REST controller is a Java class which is having actual business methods. Actual business method. Tell me guys, do you think it can take the request? That's why who is in the middle? And acting as an entry and exit point for all requests and responses. Yes, na boss. Tell me. Number one, consumer is generating request. Number two, front controller is trapping and taking the request. Number three, it is delegating the request to REST controller. Number four, generating the response, guys. Generating the output in the form of what? Response entity object. And by seeing this, if this response entity object is having Java object collection array that automatically convert into JSON. Not there, some simple text is there that will go as it is to dispatcher servlet. Dispatcher servlet, what guys? Sends that text or JSON output to browser consumer application along with the response. Consumer generate the request. Front control traps and takes the request. Delegates the request to. Delegates the request to what? A method of REST controller. The method generated output goes to dispatch servlet as response entity object. That entity object output will do some conversion, JSON, XML, whatever it is, or as a plain text. Finally, tell me guys. Finally, dispatcher servlet generated. Dispatcher servlet generated response goes to what? HTTP. HTTP response having JSON data. HTTP response having JSON data. Are you getting my point there or not? Come on. Super. Yeah. The provider application is called provider application in RESTful web service is called, tell me guys, REST API, only API, come on, REST API, only API, RESTful service, okay, producer service, producer service application and exit. Producer service application and etc. guys. Yeah, tell me guys, the methods in provider application, nothing but REST controller class, annotated with @XXX mapping. Annotated with what guys? @XXX mapping annotations. @XXX mapping annotations is called @XXX mapping annotations are called what guys? REST operations. What guys? REST operations are REST endpoints. What guys? REST endpoints, REST methods, and etc. REST methods and etc. Okay. Here only you look at this. This is whole thing is called what guys? REST API, right boss? This is called REST API, REST service. REST API and REST service. This is called what guys? Come on. REST operation 1. This is called what guys? REST operation 2. REST operation 1, REST operation. I hope you understood guys. This is flow. In Java, JAX is technology or API to develop RESTful web service. Whereas Spring REST, REST Easy, RESTless, or Jersey and etc. are the frameworks to support RESTful web service implementation. Spring REST is given on the top of Spring MVC. Spring REST is equal to Spring MVC plus plus. Spring Boot REST is equal to Spring Boot MVC plus plus. Officially, there is no module called REST in Spring or Spring Boot framework. We have only web module, which can be used in multiple ways. First way is to develop the web application using MVC architecture. Second one is what? RESTful web services based on consumer producer architecture. Yeah, here is the summary on web services now, boss. Developing service provider in web service is called as developing APIs. API development in web service is nothing but service provider or producer application development. Gathering and providing info that are required to develop service consumer for invoking services of specific service provider is nothing but providing endpoint details, guys. Providing all the details of API to consumer application is nothing but giving API endpoints to consumer application. API endpoints to consumer application, guys. See guys, you look at this weather report API. Weather report API, web service provider, and number of names are there. In that one, method one, get temperature string city mapped with w report slash temp. What is the mode of request? Get. What is the parameter? City name. So these are called endpoint details now, boss. This is endpoint one. What is this, guys? Endpoint one. This is endpoint one. All right. This is endpoint two, right, guys? This is my endpoint one. This is my endpoint two. Mapped with W report. Expected temperature, mode of the request, city, comma, days. API endpoint, details about API or provider services. API development means web service provider application developed either in what? SOAP or in RESTful. API consumer web service developed in either in what? SOAP or RESTful. Are you understood what is API? What is endpoint? API means one REST controller class, right, guys? Okay, one REST controller class. One REST controller class. This is endpoint one endpoint. Each method is called one endpoint. Okay, guys. Tell me, guys. Here summary is there on web services. Web services, how many? SOAP based, RESTful. Old and legacy, it is what? Modern, relatively new, guys. What is the architecture? SOA. Industry pronouns like that only. SOA. Okay, service oriented architecture. Consumer producer architecture with what? Front controller. What is the technologies we have? What are APIs we have? JAX WS, JAX RS. What are the programming frameworks we got, guys? Apache Access, Apache CFX. Spring REST, REST Easy, RESTless Jersey. SOAP over HTTP. HTTP with what? JSON or XML data, guys. Given based on SOA. Given based on client server or client producer architecture. Client server or what? Client producer architecture. Yeah, next one. XML as global data format. XML JSON as what? Global data format. Are you getting my point there, guys? Programming APIs, protocol, what is architecture? SOA. All comparisons I am giving. Global data format, only XML or XML JSON. Architecture is also mentioned, guys, right? So the language or technology or framework API that comes in the form of jar file having packages with classes, interface, enum annotations acting as base to develop software application is called library or API. This API is nowhere related to web service API. Again, context to context, the meaning of API is changing now, boss. In RESTful web services, API means what? Provider application development as a REST controller having REST operation. Come on, my dear. In core Java, advanced Java, API means what? Packages having classes, interfaces, enums and annotations. Enums and what? Annotations, boss. Super. Tell me. In software domain, certain terminology change its meaning context to context. Okay, number one, serialization is different. JSON serialized is different from IO stream serialization. I already explained. JSON deserialization is different from IO stream deserialization. Web service API is nothing but developing provider application as having services to consume. Whereas language technology API is nothing but a library acting as base for software applications development. Acting as base for what, guys? Software applications development. I hope you enjoyed today's session, guys. We got some more knowledge about RESTful web services. Yeah, what's our batch code, guys? 901 is your batch code. What is this? Spring Boot REST. File upload, guys. Where is that? Spring. Tomorrow I'm joining in TCS. Hare, first day, just induction programs will happen. Nothing you have to do tomorrow. First 1 week honeymoon period, boss. Just attending classes, knowing about company. Attending classes, knowing about company. That program is called induction program. What program, guys? They will give some information about the company. Okay, happily go there, sleep